Welcome back, listeners, to the Wins and Losses podcast with Winkler and Lakapo. Glad to have you back after a weekend. It was a beautiful weekend outside. That part was nice. The Stingers won. But other than that, Joey, how was that weekend of yours?
It was terrible. Absolutely terrible.
I'm kind of
started
I'm feeling
Friday
the same.
with the Tigers going 15 innings, ending at 1 o'clock in the morning, and then losing and being done with the baseball player.
That's how we started.
And then Saturday, I'm like, oh, I still have the Cubs.
The Cubs. We got the Wolverines on Saturday.
Well, we're going to talk about them in a minute. The Cubs ended up losing and crushing my baseball hopes of the World Series for the city of Chicago. So now the Tigers are out and the Cubs are out. We got the stinking Mariners and Blue Jays and Dodgers and
pretty much every one of our teams lost.
Joey's and Michigan and the Lions. We're gonna get into them.
He still has his hope tonight. Maybe Monday night the Bears will save him.
Monday nighter, so I wore my Bears hat and gonna hope at least the Bears can pull it off. Even though I lost the Buffs this week, you got the Buffs. He beat me
by one game, I think.
Predictions.
It's been close the last 2 weeks, hasn't it?
The Scholars got me. We tied in our NFL picks, but you got me one in college. And the one
the one
that you beat me on was the Hoosiers. The Hoosiers got me. Who'd have thought the Church of Signetti there?
I can tell you. Signetti is having Joey Lakapo bulletin board material every week. I think that's what he's doing.
My buddy Andy texted me today and asked me if I was a believer yet. I said, I'm a believer, but I'm still not a fan. Just don't like IU. I'm sorry, all you Hoosiers out there. I can't stand them. But to go into Oregon and to beat Oregon at Autzen Stadium, I respect that.
And by looking at their schedule now, they don't have a ranked team, and they should win the rest of their games.
Well, you want to know why they don't have a ranked team? Because Penn State totally dumped.
Money.
They dumped their head coach, Mr. James Franklin, paid him $49 million. And for those of you that aren't mathematicians, that factors to $22,000 a day, $666,000 a month until 2021. They're paying him to say, see ya, don't work here. How about that for a gig?
Where can I sign up for that?
How about that for a job?
Is there somewhere I can sign up for that?
Mr. James Franklin is going to be sitting pretty. I think he could care less.
He can never coach college football ever again for his matter.
He doesn't have to work a day in his life. He's fine. But
I'm sure we'll see him again sometime. He's a young guy, but let's go through this here, Joey. Right?
Okay, let's do it.
What is he? What were they ranked? Number 2 or 3?
Start off preseason number. You know how I feel about the rankings. Preseason rankings.
A joke.
Preseason rankings. Number 2 in the country. 3 weeks ago, they were sitting at number 4 in the country. 3 weeks later, they're 3-3 and fired their coach. Can you believe how quick college football can turn?
Lose to UCLA and Northwestern as 20-point favorites, and now he's gone. Wonder why he's gone. You think money talks a little bit? You think some boosters are calling the athletic director and saying, this is not happening any longer?
Somebody at Penn State says, I want Kirk Signetti. They want to go get Signetti.
They want anybody but James Franklin is what they're thinking.
Oh my gosh. I tell you, they got some big dollar donors out there at Penn State, and they said, we're done. Big Game James isn't Big Game James. He can't even win the small games.
Not even a year away from his Final Four appearance in the first 12-team playoff.
Can you believe?
And they almost wanted to go to the finals.
Can you believe that? How fickle the college football world is. They couldn't even wait to the end of the season. They had 11 years under James Franklin, and I understand he was 4-16 against Ohio State and Michigan. He just couldn't beat the Big 2 and the Big 10. I get that. You're frustrated. You lost to Oregon. Your title chances are kind of, I get that. But you got to at least wait to the end of the year. What are you doing? Who are you going to get now? Even if you do want Kirk Signetti, you think he's walking away from IU in the middle of the year and going to come to Penn State? If you want Matt Rule, you think he's taking off on Nebraska, who's finally ranked number 25 this week? and going to say, oh, okay, I'm going to go to Penn State. You think you're going to get Dan Mullen from UNLV to walk in an undefeated season to come to Penn State? Man, just wait. You should have just kept Franklin, finished out the year, whatever you finish. You still got to play IU, so you're probably going to lose IU. Who knows? You're probably going to lose another couple, too. I mean, Drew Aller went out with an injury, so they have no quarterback. So you're just setting up some interim guy for the end of the year to fail. And then you're going to go out and offer big bucks to the big name. And who's to say they're going to walk? Signetti's got himself a program down there. He's built himself a program. Why would he walk an IU to come into Penn State, who's going to literally get rid of you if you don't win?
Because you almost feel like he's the type of guy, Signetti, who was like, I kind of want to be IU, and I want to make everyone mad. That shit, watch, I'll win at IU, and I'm going to show you all what's up.
Right.
I mean, I don't need the big program money or whatever. But it's just Penn State had so much pressure on them this year. They thought it was going to be like Michigan was that one year.
2023.
They had all these guys coming back, so many guys on defense and offense. They had the quarterback. Just the pressure that was mounted for Penn State was almost like hard to even live up to. But, man, now we're here. They're without a coach. But we've talked about this a lot with Michigan sometimes. Just who are you going to get, though? You just don't know who you're going to get and who's going to come. There's no guarantee any of those coaches are going to come to your college, and they're going to be any better than what James Franklin was.
The top five candidates I've been hearing out there is Matt Rule from Nebraska, Kirk Signetty from IU, Dan Mullen from UNLV, Matt Campbell from Iowa State, and Manny Diaz, who was the defensive coordinator there for a while. He's currently at Duke. To think he's going to come back at Penn State. Any one of those names, I don't care who he is. I also heard Kenny Dillingham from Arizona State as a name out there. He's young. He's got a lot of energy. This reminds me eerily, they want some young coach with a lot of energy to come in, totally stabilize that program, and win. It sounds what happened. Remember when P.J. Fleck had that year with Western Michigan in 2016 and ran the tape? Granted, it was on a smaller scale, and Minnesota's like, you're going to come here, you're young, you're fresh, you're vibrant, you got energy. Yeah. You step into the big stage of the Big Ten, and you're just average at best. Penn State needs to be average at best. They do pull a good recruiting class. I do get that. They do have the money of Penn State. Yep. They do have the lore of Penn State, the history, tradition, the Joe Pa, the whiteout, and this and that. But let's face it, you're not Michigan. You're not Ohio State. And, to be honest with you, you're not Oregon either. So... Yeah,
I feel like the Penn State can win there, though. I feel like you can because I think they have a ton of money that can be poured into that place.
They can get to the playoff, but at least not under James Franklin. They
haven't been.
But, I don't know. I mean, are they going to go for the big shot and go for Urban Meyer? Does Urban Meyer want to come out of retirement? Who knows? I mean, they need a splashy name. They need a big name hire. None of these up-and-comers are like...
You got to find a coach that's been there, that's done it, or you need to find a coordinator kind of like Kirby Smart was that went to Georgia.
Sure. Yep.
You got to find the right guy who's going to be able to do it for you, and it's not an easy thing. You saw from Joe Pa to Franklin how tough it was for them for a while, and just like after Michigan lost Lloyd Carr to Harbaugh, it's not an easy thing.
No,
it's not an easy thing.
No, I mean, coaching, if you have a big name coach, a proven winner, you don't get rid of them. Correct. And they normally don't go anywhere, so it's like, good luck to Penn State. I hope you know what you're doing. Personally, I know they never asked me, which maybe they should have.
They should have come.
But I would have hung on to them to the end of the year at least, then review everything. Because who knows? They could. Yeah. Could you imagine if they go on and beat Indiana and beat Ohio State and finish the year 9-3, beating two of the top three teams in the country, but they had fired their head coach in the middle of the season? Can you imagine? I mean,
you never know what you're going to turn around. Just like Dabo lost those 3 early games, they didn't fire him.
You
say, hey, see if you can turn it around, see what kind of you can do with your team.
But even if they wanted to fire Dabo, they could wait to the end of the year and then do whatever.
Stability there all year.
I almost look at North Carolina as a perfect example. They have Bill Belichick. Let's just face it, it's not working out for Belichick. You think they're going to retain him? I'm probably guessing not. I don't think he's happy there, so I'm probably guessing they're going to part ways. But he's not going to walk away now. No. He's going to wait to the end of the year. So it's a mess at Penn State. Yeah. I almost wish we had him on the schedule this year.
It'd be a perfect time to have him now, except unless we lost him. I think the biggest thing is obviously in coaching business, all coaches know when they get hired somewhere that stuff like this can happen.
Oh yeah, it's a
I
coach's life.
always feel bad for the families and the kids, and because
$22,000 a day, I don't feel too bad for them, man.
The ridicule they get at school, who knows what happens at school? Then.
God, $660.
Well, maybe they're gonna be homeschooled now. They'll definitely can buy a few teachers probably for some salary.
A guy can buy a Rolls Royce every month from now until 20.
Pay a teacher $50,000 for
Holy
them,
smokes!
and they'd still be fine.
You can buy a 50 Bugatti.
So moving on. So some games this week. Obviously, I think the big one that really popped out to me was the Indiana-Oregon game.
Oh, for sure.
That was huge for Cincinnati and IU. They looked really like a complete team. I think last year, they were good, but they just didn't have the players and the
quarterback.
Team. And the quarterback, too.
Fernando.
Even defense. That defense for IU looked good. And last year, I feel like they just didn't have it to play with the big boys.
If you were to have told me that IU out-physicaled Oregon,
correct,
I would have said, what are you smoking? No way. They literally went into Autzen Stadium and bullied Oregon.
Went all the way out west.
Oregon with their crazy head coach, Dan Lanning. They bullied them around. They pressured Dante Moore. They had no answers for IU's defense. IU's offense looked fantastic. They had that pick six, and you thought, oh, here comes Oregon. IU just marched right back down the field and matched it. Oh, they played great. I am not an IU fan, but I will give it to IU. Kudos to that one. That was a great victory.
That was huge. Victory. Then the other big one, I think that Oklahoma-Texas game, seems like Mateer just was not ready to come back.
Yeah.
I think they rushed him because that's not hit the quarterback that we know, that we saw play. And I think Texas isn't that good. I think they could have scored more points, but he was a shell of himself.
Right. No, I think they rushed.
Great win for Texas, though.
Huge win. Huge.
They needed that more than anything.
Season.
Yes.
They only have 2 losses. They're still very much in the mix to get in the playoffs.
Both teams are.
Yes. It doesn't hurt Oklahoma. I do think if Oklahoma would have stayed with their backup. They rushed Mateer back 17 days back after having surgery on his throwing thumb. He threw 3 interceptions. He didn't have a week of practice. He looked rusty. You're throwing him right into the Red River rivalry. It's like, that's a lot to throw at a kid. And he's a pretty resilient guy, and I do think Oklahoma will bounce back. But that's a tough spot to put him in.
It's like they really didn't trust that backup. You feel like, hey, if he's close, let's give him one more week so he's fully healthy maybe next weekend. But, man, it's just crazy how that happened. It looked like no team could score at all. It was 6-0, and then all of a sudden, Texas just trying to find a way to.
Well, they had a punt return. Arch did have a touchdown in there, but Texas's defense stood up, man. I tell you,
good for them.
They
needed
3 picks. They held Oklahoma to 6 points.
We'll see what this does for their season, or both of them, and see kind of what happens, and kind of goes either way. But
how about Auburn and Georgia?
Man,
how many ways can we screw Auburn this year?
That was a touchdown at the end of the first half.
Yes, it was.
I don't know how that was not
17-0 and changed the game dramatically.
Totally changes the game.
Georgia ends up win that game 20-10. But that touchdown would have flipped the script. It was 10-0.
The momentum you have going into halftime.
Momentum. Georgia would have never gotten the ball back. They went down and scored, but that would have that was a game changer. Auburn wins that, and they got screwed the week before by Oklahoma by having that illegal receiver on the field. Yeah, I feel really bad. If you're an Auburn fan right now, you might be hurting worse than me. I mean, totally. I'm hurting because between the Lions and Michigan and the Cubs and the Tigers, I had a terrible weekend with all my teams. So come on, Bears. Dude.
Come on.
Let's get into Michigan. Let's do it.
That was, what do we say? It's not fun to lose. We've lost the second game of the season.
Yeah, well, that's the last one we can lose.
We can't lose another one. We're still not guaranteed to get in if we win out.
Oh, we'll get in because we got to beat Ohio State. If we win out, we beat Ohio State. That gets us in. But yeah, there's no wiggle room now. Got to beat Washington this weekend and keep it rolling.
Just a lot of disappointment. I feel like I did not think our defense could get ran on like that. I know USC has one of the best yards per carry, in the Big Ten. I think it was them and Michigan had the top 2. But, man, they gashed us on defense, which was not something you normally see.
It has been a long time. I'm talking probably since 2021. No, probably since 2020, COVID, since I've seen Michigan get pushed around. Like they got out physical. That's one thing Michigan
That doesn't
has.
happen very
That's
often.
Michigan's calling card. That's their culture. That's their trademark. Is line play, physical, tough, grinded out, running football. I think that injury to Justice Haynes
That hurt.
but Marshall came in and ran well.
He did well, yeah.
But you know what hurt
They just
us?
beat us on the.
For what hurt us was our defense. I haven't seen Michigan's defense play that bad in 5 years.
I know, me neither.
In 5 years.
And we need to score more points than 13 points.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like we're still hamstringing Underwood a little bit. Obviously, he's still young. He's going to make some mistakes, but
that goes to Coach Moore, man. That's play calling.
To me, they aren't any different than Nebraska in a way. Like, why can't we just let him go? Like, I haven't seen him run since Moore's been back.
Yeah. No,
It's too predictable, right? It's run, and then Underwood's got 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 10.
really hard to give Sharon Moore a lot of slack and a lot of leeway. I want to be a believer because I was still really hesitant. When Harbaugh left and they said Sharon Moore, it's like because he's kind of unproven.
Yeah.
But yet he beat Ohio State and beat Penn State. So it's like we're gonna go with Moore. I feel like the games he's coached this year, he treats Bryce Underwood with kid gloves on. He will not do
anything. It's way too conservative.
It is screen passes and running, and he gets out of the pocket and he throws the ball out of bounds. What those 2 games Biff Poggi coached, we finally saw some signs of an offense for the first time in 2 years since JJ's been there.
Well, a few times when he did have a chance, when it was just more, he had some great throws.
Yeah.
And they had some good chances, and I feel like when they got him out of the pocket, he throws the best, even one of the announcers said. And Marsh looked great, but man, it's just
good. McCauley looked good. It's time for Samaj Morgan to step it up a little bit. He's in year 2, year 3 of his Michigan regime there. He's got to start making some bigger catches. But, honestly, it's just the play caller.
Yeah. The questions are going to start coming because he can't lose. If he loses to Ohio State and we don't get the playoff, that's going to be a big thing for Michigan. I don't know if he goes because of that.
No, I don't know if he'll go.
But he's got a lot to prove. But I saw this stat today. So it was the last 4 coaches for Michigan in their first 19 games in the University of Michigan. You see that?
Yeah.
Moore is 12-7.
Yeah.
Harbaugh is 6-3. Rodriguez was 8-11, and Hoke was 15-4. So that doesn't look great. I think last year's season, I think people forgot about it a little bit after we beat Ohio State and Alabama at the end of the year. It really kind of was like, hey, man, we got this. We're going to be totally different team.
I don't think we forgot. I think we were a
but
little
it gives
bit
you a little
forgiving.
Yeah, so you're forgiving because you feel like that momentum is going to carry over. Is that the team we're going to be this year?
And we had a quarterback. We knew we had Bryce coming in. We had a quarterback. It's going to be different this year.
If we're any better than we were last year throwing, we're going to be.
I'm telling you what, man. 6 games into the season, I think we have the same record as we did last year.
Yeah.
We lost to Texas and Washington at this very point last year.
Yep.
And then we were coming up in Illinois and then lost to Illinois.
So this really for Michigan this week
this
is
Washington
huge.
game is huge.
And then we got Ohio State is huge. And then even Maryland, Maryland, Nebraska had a pretty good.
I'm gonna say it,
good
and
fight.
you might laugh at me, and many might laugh at me. Look out for the Spartans. We got to go into Michigan State,
Correct.
which is a rivalry game on Halloween weekend or the weekend before Halloween. We traditionally beat Michigan State, but I tell you what, man, it's not easy.
They got nothing to lose. It's their whole season.
They got a rookie quarterback, got a freshman quarterback going into East Lansing, man. That game's not going to be easy. I don't care what anybody says. Hopefully Michigan's going to win, but yeah, our schedule might look easy on paper. Northwestern just beat Penn State. Who's to say they can't beat us at Wrigley Field?
It's at Northwestern.
Yeah,
it's a away game.
Maryland was playing some good ball. Who's to say they can't beat us the week before we play the Buckeyes? Our schedule, you could look at it. You could make a case we could lose the rest of our games.
Correct.
The thing is
they got to get something figured out.
Yes.
The place, the coaches, Moore's just got to let Chip, Lindsey just do it.
I think that our defense needs to go back to playing a little more zone. They've been playing man-to-man, leaving their corners on islands, and we've been getting we got torched by USC. Torched. And it's like, if USC can do that, imagine what the receivers at Ohio State will do to us.
Yeah.
And then you talk about going to more of a zone. It's a 3rd and 25. It was still 14-7. It was 3rd and 25. And
that was a huge play.
And they gashed us for that touchdown. Turned it 21-7.
Yeah.
Literally flipped the game right there, right then and there.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, how do we not stop them on 3rd and 25? And they ran a draw up the middle. Why? Because we're blitzing our line. We're doing all the pursuit. Why can't we just hang back and make the tackle? Even if we would have held them to 20 yards.
Totally.
Even if we would have held them, we still would have gotten the ball back. We let them run for the first down and then the touchdown.
Yeah.
I mean, it was bad. The worst I'd seen in Michigan defense in 5 years. In 5 years.
Yeah.
And to say they weren't up for it, how do you not get up for USC? Your first trip out to LA since the 50s. Since the 1950s, and you're not up for that game, that's a coaching issue.
I mean, and Sharon Moore was talking a little crap before the game.
Yeah,
too.
he was. That's
you
coaching
You got to
issue.
back it up.
You got to get your team ready. You got to go out there and play and show them who's the Big Ten. USC hadn't had a big win in the Big Ten since they joined the conference. Now they're going to go out there and beat Michigan.
Yeah.
The national champ 2 years ago,
Yeah.
Michigan. The king of the Big Ten, 43 Big Ten titles, 12 national championships, and they're going to just treat them like Northwestern.
Yes.
You know, I mean, that's embarrassing.
It was not the way we should have played.
Yeah, no, I'm embarrassed
and
I'm bitter. So I'm hoping we take out some of that anger on the Huskies this weekend. Washington's a good ball club, and if we're not careful, we're going to let USC beat us twice. It happened to Penn State. I hope they use that as an example. And don't overlook the Huskies, because that's going to be a big game on Saturday. Big game for Michigan.
They better be ready. That's all we got to say.
Big game for Michigan.
Yeah. Want any more college games?
We can kind of, we'll just glaze through them real
it.
quick. I know A&M kind of handled their business. Billy Napier is probably on his way out, but they're going to do it right and wait till the end of the year. Texas Tech's looking good. They're kind of been overlooked. It's really shocking to me that Texas Tech is so strong in football, but you know, they put a lot into their NIL. They have a lot of that oil money. They got that Mahomes money. You know, they're kind of changing their program. And really their basketball team, their college basketball team is preseason number 10, which is funny. They came out with the preseason rankings today. By the way, Michigan's number 7 for all you out there. Look out for Dusty May and the boys come March. I'll just leave that.
Even though it's preseason poll.
We'll talk more about that in future podcasts when we get into basketball. But we're going to keep this football today. Utah with the big win over Arizona State. BYU still undefeated out there, beat Arizona. Brian Kelly and the boys beat South Carolina. So some big wins. I know we talked about those games.
I want to ask you something. So we have in the top 25, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 teams undefeated.
Okay.
What team are people not talking about that you feel like people need to start talking about? So I'll mention
undefeated team.
Undefeated team. It has to be undefeated team.
I think we just mentioned them. I think Texas Tech.
I'm going to mention all these teams: Memphis, Georgia, BYU, Georgia Tech, Texas Tech, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, IU, Miami, and OSU.
I think Texas Tech.
Texas Tech.
Yep. I think with the Big 12. I think they're going to have some monster games with BYU. I think they'll have a big game with Utah. Or no, they've already played Utah.
Yeah.
They'll have a big game with BYU. Let me see who else is the Big 12.
So my team that I'm thinking about is Georgia Tech. I feel like they're flying under the radar. They're going to have. They got a great quarterback. Quarterbacks can make things happen.
Sure.
So we'll see. I mean, they played Georgia last game. I don't see them losing another game in the ACC the rest of the way.
Not to the ACC. I do. Georgia.
I mean, they could lose to Georgia, but Georgia's been vulnerable. I don't think Georgia's as good as what people is not this year. They're just skating by.
Georgia might need that
They're
game
skating by
to get in the playoff.
Yes.
Because of that SEC's. I mean, look.
Georgia Tech remembers from last year.
The chicken coop. Look who's sitting at number 6 right now. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but Alabama's right back in the picture. So Bama went nowhere after that loss. They're right back in the picture, sitting at number 6. So so Georgia, they're going to need to win that game. But yeah, Georgia Tech's a good. They could be sneaky.
They're kind of flying under there, and they got a good easy schedule the rest of the way. They're going to want to be. I mean, that Georgia Tech game last year was insane.
I just think Georgia Tech's kind of notorious for dropping one they shouldn't.
So we'll see what happens. Yep. That's really going to be interesting to see. But I feel like no one's really given them one mention. They're up to number 12. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, we will. So that was kind of our Saturday. I know it was a bummer for both of us. I know for many of you out there that are Michigan fans, was definitely not what we were looking for. But, if you were to look at the beginning of the year, you saw probably 2 to maybe 3 losses on that schedule. So let's just kind of hang tight, be patient. Those who stay will be champions. So just ride it out, be patient. That's what makes a Michigan man. You got to be tough and get through these times. So we just got to bounce back and beat Washington on Saturday. So we're going to carry over to the NFL now. Sunday. Game of the day.
Baker, touchdown maker, baby.
Baker can't be my friend this week. They play the Lions on Monday. So.
Monday Night Football in Detroit.
Boy.
Baker is tearing it up. Another big win.
Detroit needs it, too, after that loss last
night. I feel like Chiefs needed that more than the Lions. Yeah. That was a big win for the Chiefs. They had to get to 3-3. Joey's very pumped about it. It was a win-win, lose-lose for me. I was cheering for the Lions last night, but...
I was cheering for Taylor Swift.
Or Caitlin Clark were
I saw that up
there in the box last night. But
yeah, you can have Caitlin. I'll take Taylor Swift any day. But no, the Lions started that game off so good. Amon-Ra St. Brown had that 4th down drop.
Yeah.
Almost changed the whole momentum. You figured he catches that ball. They're moving in to score. They score. They make it, what would have been 17 to 6 at that point.
Yep.
And the Chiefs don't get the ball back until the second half. Instead, we drop that drive. The Chiefs go down and score. They take the lead into halftime, get the ball back after halftime, march on and score. The Lions still were hanging in there, but the Chiefs ended up winning. They did have a little altercation at the end of the game, Brian Branch. I kind of wonder. I think a lot of those Chiefs.
They had to be John. I'm sure Smith and Branch were John the whole game. They had to be, right?
They were talking.
You saw right after Mahomes kind of went down the knee. Schuster was kind of said something.
Well,
kind of looked like it was towards Branch.
He held his hand out almost in a condescending way.
Yeah, sure.
And Branch, he could have just smacked it like he did to Mahomes. You see how he smacked Mahomes?
He was trying to save Mahomes. He was beelining right to Smith.
He smacked Schuster Smith. He got it. That could cause a suspension, which could really hurt the Lions on Monday because they do play Baker touchdown
maker. And then and the Lions have so many cornerbacks out. Their secondary is just...
Terry Arnold got hurt yesterday too, man.
So we're kind of...
But yeah, no, it was a tough one for the Lions. But yeah, Baker's playing well to go back to your original. Those Buccaneers, look out for them. They're sitting at 5-1 right now. They're one of the 3 teams with one loss in the NFL, or in the whole NFL, but something behind the Bills and the Colts. How about the Colts? The Colts won again, another one.
The Colts don't mess around
against Arizona yesterday. It was yesterday afternoon they beat them. So yeah, the Colts are sitting with 1 loss. The Bills sitting with one loss, and you got the good old Buccaneers with 1 loss.
Yeah, Buccaneers. We got right now. Everyone's got.
Yeah.
Yes, Buffalo, Green Bay. So they got that loss in the tie.
Well, they got that tie. They got that.
That game was ugly too a little bit yesterday.
Green Bay. I'm not worried.
I don't know if they're that spectacular, but a little concern for Philly. Chargers were able to squeak by. Looked kind of shaky at first.
Yeah,
thought they're going to lose to the Dolphins, but they came back and won. And then probably the ugliest game of the day was in London.
Yeah.
The Jets and the Broncos, 12-11. They had negative. Okay, so we are in 2025. Where the rules are all for the quarterbacks, and they had negative 10 yards passing. How was that a possibility?
Yeah, I think Justin Fields is showing he's a Buckeye, isn't he?
Yeah, he doesn't have any of those. Well, I guess he does have Buckeye wide receiver because the Buccaneers wide receiver from Ohio State and the Seahawks wide receiver is tearing it up all of a sudden.
Yeah, no, they've always had receivers, but. And so is the one for the Saints, too. They have
Olave.
And they got Smith and Jigba for the Seahawks. Yeah, they got them all in the NFL. Look, they can stay in the NFL. Don't come back to school.
They got a ton in there.
So that was the NFL was kind of a snoozer of a day. Tonight we got the Bears Commanders, which is a big one for the Bears. Go Bears!
And they get to 3-2.
Bear down. But and then we got the Bills at Falcons. Bills looking to stay with 1 loss. If not, look who's going to have. If they lose to the Falcons, which I predicted.
I did.
The best record in the NFL could be the Indianapolis Colts. Who'd have thought that?
Man, wow. That's tough to say.
So that's what we got in the NFL this week. We'll do our picks and predictions on our Thursday or Friday.
Yeah, one of those shows.
Friday show.
We'll get to you guys.
I know baseball I wanted to touch on real fast. I know we did earlier in the podcast.
Our Dream World Series obviously is gone. But
Evan's prediction.
My prediction's still alive.
He predicted Blue Jays Brewers, so it's still alive. I want the other 2 teams.
Looks like right now the
Mariners
the
are
TV ratings aren't going to be spectacular.
Yeah,
for
well, the
World
Dodgers
Series.
are still there.
That's
So
your only hope.
They might draw.
Go Brewers and Blue Jays.
Yeah,
Come on.
got Dodgers-Brewers game 1 is tonight, and we're recording this on Monday, so it'd be tonight. And game 2 for the Mariners-Blue Jays is going to be right now on Monday as well.
Okay.
Mariners are up 1-0. They won last night. So congrats to Seattle. Best of luck to all 4 of those teams. I don't care at this point. The Tigers and Cubs are out, so it doesn't matter. So. I touched on it earlier. Preseason men's basketball polls came out. I know I hate polls, and I look at these polls.
He does.
Purdue sitting at number 1, Houston at 2, Florida, UConn, St. John's, Duke, Michigan, BYU, Kentucky, and Texas Tech are the top 10. You look at all those teams, they all have returning starters. They all were good last year, except for Michigan. We got a lot of transfers coming in.
Yeah.
Dusty's May is going to have them boys humming. We're going to beat them Boilers and take over first and win the Big Ten. March to our national championship begins November 3rd.
Yes, that's what we're doing. And you're lucky Joey didn't get into the NCAA football polls today because he might have went off for another half an hour.
I'll give you food for thought. I'm going to say it right before we sign off here. Before we sign off.
Sorry,
tell me why Notre Dame is sitting at number 13 with 2 losses, and they lost to number 5 Texas A&M and number 2 Miami. Big losses. That's fine. They're a highly ranked team. But at number 25, you have Illinois sitting at number 25, and they lost to the number 1 team, Ohio State, and the number 3 team, Indiana. Why wouldn't Illinois
And they beat USC.
Yes. Food for thought. Think about it and let me know. You can chime in on the comments. Please do. If you're a Notre Dame fan or a Notre Dame hater, I don't understand why they're 12 spots higher. I don't care for Illinois, but I hate the Irish. So, that being said, we're going to sign off and say...
Subscribe, please.
Subscribe.
And
go blue.